9 years after the Satyam scam came to light, SEBI has found the company's audit firm Price Waterhouse guilty of abdication of duty and involvement in the fraud. PW network firms have been barred by the regulator from issuing certificates of audit for listed companies for 2 years. PW partners Srinivas Talluri and S. Gopalakrishnan have been barred for 3 years. The two partners and Price Waterhouse, Bangalore, have also been ordered to disgorge wrongful gains of over 13 crore rupees with interest calculated at the rate of 12% per annum from the 7th of January 2009 till the date of payment. For more on this unprecedented action by SEBI, I'm joined by Menaka Doshi. Menaka, 9 years it's taken.
Well, it has, and at the end of 9 years, and the order explains why it's taken so long, because there are several parallel investigations going on, including criminal investigations. We have an unprecedented order, Alex, as you've pointed out, one that, for the first time, at least in my memory, has SEBI, the Markets and Securities Regulator, barring an audit firm from being able to issue audit certificates for a 2-year period. And it isn't just any one firm of the Price Waterhouse network. All the firms that share the brand of Price Waterhouse have been barred from doing so. So therefore, this is unprecedented. We have never seen SEBI take action like this before. But then again, the Satyam scam was an unprecedented one as well. Now, let me give you some details on what grounds SEBI decided to do this. So there were 5 charges, if I may call them that, on the basis of which SEBI examined the actions and the behavior of Price Waterhouse and the partners that you've mentioned. For instance, the first one had to do with non-existent cash and bank balances of a little over 5,000 crore rupees. And in this, SEBI has gone to great detail to show that no external confirmations were sought in order to verify these cash and bank balances. And in fact, in several instances, SEBI has also depicted in its order that, there were deferring balances available based on what the banks told the auditor and based on the information that the company offered the auditor, and yet the auditor was not alarmed enough to investigate or verify this independently. So as you can see, the quote we put up from the order on the screen says that the auditors ignored the first set of confirmations received directly from the banks, relied exclusively on those received from the company, showing deposit balances which were tallying with what was shown in the books. The second charge had to do with inflated sales revenues using a little over 7,500 fake invoices. Here again, SEBI has found that Price Waterhouse, the firms involved in the audit, as well as the partners, failed to do enough verification. So they failed to walk through tests in respect of the invoices. They did not take all the internal control measures that were required. They chose to ignore internal audit reports. They relied on ledger entries, and they did not conduct the audit as maintained or mandated by accounting standards and the guidance note that accompanies that. On the third charge, or the third ground, it has to do with overstated debtors' position by hundreds of crores of rupees. SEBI again found that Price Waterhouse did not do adequate external confirmation of debtor balances, which in turn resulted in it failing to notice the inflated and false figures concerning Satyam. SCSL in the graphic plate refers to Satyam Computers Services. There were 2 other charges. One had to do with a variance in the TDS benefits that were claimed and that were shown in the books. In that, SEBI said that, it was not fully convinced that, the TDS variance was easily identifiable by the auditors. And therefore, they have said that I would, of the view that the charge contained in the show cause notice, SSCN is that, against the notices concerning TDS is not sustainable. And similarly, in the 5th charge, which had to do with failure to detect receipts of about 1,400 crore rupees, SEBI did not find enough ground to be able to maintain the charge. Now, these were the 5 specific grounds on the basis of which SEBI investigated the behavior of PW or its work as the auditor of Satyam. And in summary, this is what SEBI has found. Gaping holes in the auditing process followed by the auditors. The attitude of professional skepticism was missing. That, in fact, they also ignored a whistleblower letter that was received by an independent director on December 23rd of 2008, just a few days before Ramalinga Raju, in fact, confessed to his crimes. And they said that, the independent director had asked the auditor to investigate this whistleblower's letter, but no action was taken. Thereafter, SEBI says there has been total abdication by the auditors of their duty to follow the minimum standards of diligence and care expected from the statutory auditor. And it goes on to say that therefore it has come to a satisfactory conclusion as to the culpability of the auditors. And it is stated that mens rea in the criminal sense of the term is not relevant to be established in a violation alleged under SEBI, read with the applicable provisions. The reason I'm quoting mens rea here is because in their argument and in their defense, SEBI and the two individual partners had argued that there was not enough evidence to show that there was actual specific involvement on their part. And so therefore, SEBI has argued that I don't need to show specific instances of mens rea, that in fact this all-round abdication of duty is enough for me to find that you were possibly involved in the fraud. And that's on the basis of which SEBI has taken the action that it has. Alex?
Menaka, you mentioned right at the start that this is unprecedented because of the fact that the Satyam audit was tasked to two member firms and two partners. But the entire network firms have been punished in this manner. But is there any rationale as to why that has happened?
Yes, I think SEBI has again gone to great lengths to establish how the Price Waterhouse network functions, how they have common resource agreements, and how all these network firms in India are linked to each other. They've also pointed out in their order that the Satyam engagement letter in appointing the auditors is signed only as Price Waterhouse and not by a specific firm in either Calcutta or Bangalore. Those were the two specific firms, in fact, that were involved in the audit of Satyam. But they have not curtailed the action only against those two firms and those two specific partners. They've taken action against all of the Price Waterhouse network firms on the basis that these are all linked to each other. They've also noted the action that SEC and the PCAOB, the super regulator, audit regulator in the U.S., took against Price Waterhouse. And they've said that SEC and PCAOB also note systemic problems in the audit processes carried out by Price Waterhouse entities, and therefore it's difficult not to take note of the loss of faith of investors in the brand name itself, which is why SEBI felt compelled to take action against the entire network of firms and not just two specific firms or two specific partners. The Price Waterhouse entity of firms, a group of firms, had argued vehemently, as the order points out, that there was no reason to punish other audit members and other chartered accountants employed by their firms, because of the potential failings of two, even though they've argued that nobody has failed or there was no culpability or involvement. But SEBI has not bought into that and therefore has taken action against the entire network of firms. And as you pointed out right in your introduction, the entire network of firms, all the firms sharing the Price Waterhouse brand name, now stand barred from being able to issue an audit certificate or a compliance certificate to any listed company or intermediary for the period of the next 2 years. Equally important is the disgorgement order. The disgorgement is of about 13 crore rupees right now, specifically to be paid by Price Waterhouse Bangalore and the two partners involved. But it's not just 13 crores because, as you pointed out, it's to be paid at the rate of 12% interest right from 2009 onwards. So that works out as a sizable amount. I'm sorry, my mental math is not very good early this morning, but I'm sure someone who does the calculation can figure out that this is a fairly large amount that they've asked for disgorgement, and this is based on the fees that were paid for that specific audit service.
Well, Menaka, we'll work on our mental math, and by the time we have Indian Open, I'm sure there's lots more on this topic that will be discussed, and also the implications of the move. But thanks so much for putting all of those things in perspective for us this early in the morning. Price Waterhouse, for its part, has issued a statement after the SEBI's move, and I want to quote that. They've said, "We are disappointed with the findings of the SEBI investigations and the adjudication order. We believe that the order is also not in line with the directions of the Honorable Bombay High Court order of 2010, and so we are confident of getting a stay before this order becomes effective." fairly confident statement there by Price Waterhouse.